Welcome to Hang Out with RAKStars once again, like every Friday. We are super happy to be here with you all. I hope everyone is having a great Friday so far. Hey Jose, how you doing?
Hey, I'm okay. Yeah, it's Friday, right? Black Friday, even. So
Black Friday, even, yeah. We have some the discount prices on our stores for all of those who
mhm.
are looking for some accessories, maybe for their minted hotspots.
Yeah, maybe, but not on the miners. No, like lots of people
Exactly.
asking for codes, but we don't have those.
Yeah, and yeah, maybe next year, hopefully.
I
Let's
hope
see.
not. I mean, yeah, still a lot of interest in the miners. We can't ship enough. That's the problem, right?
Exactly. But yeah, for those who are joining for the first time, I am Maria Hernandez, Developer Relation Lead at RAK, and with me, Jose Marcelino, our solution architect.
Hey,
We are going to be the moderators of this session as every week. But yeah, for also for those who are joining for the first time, basically this is a community space where we chat with passionate rockster, which are the RAKwireless community members. We used to call them rockster. And yeah, the idea is to share about their professional journey, how they get into the world of IoT, the hacks they are doing, or even the businesses that they are doing. So yeah. Also, before introducing our guest today, I would like to highlight that if you are doing the live session and you have any question, feel free to ask any question you may have. We're going to keep an eye on the chat every time that a question pop ups, and if it's okay, we can address the question immediately, or we can jump at the end of the session where we have a Q&A spot just for that. I really encourage you to ask any question you may have, since our guests have a lot of interesting things to share with us today, and mainly for those who are looking to build some businesses behind the IoT deployments that you are doing. So yeah, that's all for the introduction.
sounds exciting. I mean,
Formalism. Yeah. For today's session, we are going to be chatting with passionate businesswoman who is currently working as a head of business development and partner manager at Ubidots platform.
mm,
Her primary mission is to help grow these amazing and innovative startups to learn along the way. In addition, she is someone which is very curious and enthusiastic about startups, tech, workspace well-being, music, and of course, as she is, meeting beautiful minds around the world. Christina, welcome to the stage.
Hello,
hello, welcome.
I'm Jose. I'm so happy to be here. And thank you so much for that kind introduction.
No
No,
problem.
thanks to you for
Thank you.
take the time and be here with us today. We're super excited about this session. In my side, I will say that I'm super excited every time we have a woman on the stage.
Yeah,
So
we
that
can't
is
have
one
enough,
thing.
right? Yeah, we can't have enough.
Exactly. So we
Yeah.
try to bring more, and also because you're
hmm
going to talk about a topic that we have. Yeah, we used to chat about business, but not directly about business and how it truly is. So that is why we are here. I'm super excited about our chat today. So yeah, just let's start breaking the ice, and let's get a little bit better. So can you share a little bit about you, like can you share about more about your background, your education, and how and when did you get working in this IoT ecosystem?
Awesome. Okay. Thanks again for having me here. Super exciting. I love your show, and I actually join on Fridays. So
Great.
a little bit about me. My name is Cristina, and I'm from Medellin, Colombia. And I have a background in business. I went to school to study international business with a minor in project management. I've always loved entrepreneurship, like everything. I would sign up for extra classes and just groups doing things related to startups. And I'm an entrepreneur myself, and I've done different things locally, not with tech though. So actually, I started working in a just technology startup because I realized I was very like curious about it, and everybody was like, tech is the next big thing, and I was like, okay, is that true or is it a keyword? And I was like, yeah, I got the chance to join Ubidots 3 years ago, and it's been like an awesome experience, learning a lot, and yeah, that would be like in a nutshell. Also, I love music. I love arts and crafts, so kind of like it's sweet spot between business and like stuff, but also being creative and like having this nice mix between the two worlds.
Okay. So
Oh,
do you
nice.
play any instruments, or
I
I'm just
do. I
curious? Yes.
play the piano, I play the
Oh wow.
guitar, and I love singing. So
Oh
I
wow.
might be
She's an amazing singer. I can say that.
Oh man.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
Great.
she can give us a concert right now. Okay.
Yes. Yeah. Let's do it.
Let's talk about IoT first. We'll talk about the concert later.
Oh man, nice,
Uh,
nice. Oh, thanks for that awesome intro. And also that you mentioned that you joined to the tech ecosystem just because you joined Ubidots. So
mhm.
how was like those first months like dealing with technology without knowing about the technology? Can you share a
Oh
little bit more
gosh.
about that?
Yeah, for sure. So, for all of you that are joining, I don't know if you know that Maria was actually part of Ubidots before being at RAK. So, Maria for sure knows that it was kind of hard and overwhelming. But let me tell you my journey. So, first, I thought that IoT was just one technology, and I read about it everywhere, and it was like one of the biggest thing in tech like 3 years ago. When I actually started learning and getting acquainted with everything, I realized there were so many layers involved. Like, first, it was the hardware. And if I tried to understand the hardware, it was already like a lot of layers within it. And you guys know about it for sure. Then I realized that those hardware had protocols and like MQTT. That was the first time I learned about that. And then connectivity. So it wasn't only Wi-Fi, it was cellular, it was LoRaWAN, it was like all sort of things, and only LoRaWAN had downlink, uplink, and I was like, oh my gosh. And then the platforms, and not only the platforms, but the cloud portion. Give me one second. Sorry. Then the it's connected to my computer. I don't know why. Then the cloud portion, that it was still overwhelming because I was okay. We are a platform, but what all of these like players have in common, like AWS, Azure, like should what does this mean in this IoT ecosystem? So it took me like I guess like 6 months or so where I had to study like every weekend, understanding everything. But I realized that once I knew there was this thing called like just the IoT layers, everything like I started to put the knowledge within some boxes, and everything was way like just more clear. And yeah, it was very straightforward once I realized there were some layers. So yeah, it was kind of not very fast, but after 6 months I was like everything made sense, and I knew about the company. I knew exactly like where in that my brain had some boxes, so I was like, okay, that information goes in this box. I don't have to know everything about it, but I still know where to map it in like my brain map. So that I think that's IoT in a nutshell.
Completely, completely.
Yeah, I think people join IoT and think that, oh, I'll just make a lot of profits, but it actually takes like a superhuman dedication to deliver any product, actually. So
For sure.
it's very
Oh my
challenging.
gosh. Yeah.
Completely, completely.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
also like from your side, like for the business side for an IoT platform, which is like the last layer of the integration, like
Yeah.
you need to be able to understand like the basis in order to transmit that message to the client that you are in contact with completely.
100%. What I also realized is that at the time when I joined, we had all sort of users in many different verticals. So some of them were doing smart cities, others were doing healthcare or agriculture, or others were prototyping. So they use, I don't know, Arduinos or like very easy to access devices, or others were using PLCs, Schneider Electric, Red Lion, like very heavy duty like devices, super expensive at the same time. So I was like, okay, one thing at a time. Yeah, yeah.
That's nice. That's nice. And also that you're on the business side of the ecosystem, have you ever done an IoT project by your own?
I have actually. Um, that was one of the tests I had to show to the company in order to stay. So I started to connect my own like node MCUs to measure plant moisture and humidity, and I connected to Ubidots and I sent alerts when something was happening. That was super fun. But I've actually done more of them because as I'm also in charge of the partnerships, I have to prove that it's actually easy to integrate and that the guides are well written and that it's straightforward. And I'm not exactly in the customer success like space, but I'm involved with the support in our technical guides. So I love just checking out our partners' guides and actually testing them out on my own. Not exactly doing projects, but making sure it's up and
Everything's
running.
okay.
We also launched something super cool that's called plugins. So there's one that is called is for, instead of you having to deploy sensors, you can connect to public APIs for weather stations. So I was actually living in the US 4 months ago, and California was terrible with the fires. So we couldn't go out, and the AQI was just super bad. So I actually created some plugins with these virtual weather stations, so that I would get an alert from Ubidots every time that I could go out, because the AQI improved for the winds and stuff. And it was pretty useful because I was like crazy checking out the AQI all the time, like Googling it. I was like, oh, just send me an
You
alert
can
when
do
I can
this.
just go out to the park. So stuff like that. It's great how IoT is not only about the sensors, but it's just data out there that we can integrate with
Mm.
everything. So that was cool.
Mhm.
Like, using it for myself.
Completely. Nice, nice. And also, like, you start talking a little bit more about like Ubidots and its features, but we know
Mhm.
that several of our community members over here are familiar with it because we have been using in some
Yes.
of the sessions. However, can you share a bit about Ubidots for all of those who are joining for the first time and maybe don't know about the platform?
Perfect. My pleasure. So, what is Ubidots? Ubidots is an IoT application enablement platform. So we basically provide a whole set of toolkits on a cloud for IoT entrepreneurs or makers or companies or system integrators to rapidly connect the devices, for instance, your RAKwireless devices, to the cloud without the need to hire a software development team or spend thousands of dollars or time to market. So it's just very easy for you to actually launch a business using IoT, and not only like to connect stuff, but launch a business. So that's in a nutshell.
Sounds good.
That is the intro about.
Very
And you
short.
connect like to all sorts of networks, right? You have integrations, multiple integrations. You kind of work a lot
Yes.
around that to make everything simple.
Exactly. So the
Yeah.
same overwhelming like experience I had checking out the layers, we do
Mhm.
think that it's very important for no matter where are you playing on the layer side, that you actually guarantee interoperability with the whole IoT ecosystem. So for us, it's very important to be open to any kind of partners, any kind of devices, third-party integrations, or even network servers if you're thinking about LoRaWAN. So we commit a lot of efforts internally to develop these guides and these tutorials to actually provide you the library for you to literally copy paste it and send data in like
Yeah.
even less than a week. So it's very important for us to have that.
Mhm.
Completely. And also like being a business savvy, I think it's vital for when you want to scale or also build a project effectively, even if there is in the IoT ecosystem space. So to be able to do this, like you need to have like a solid understanding about the technology, and you already shared that you took a couple of months over this learning curve about understanding about the different kind of layers like hardware protocols, applications, servers, and so on. But what is like the biggest challenge that you have faced so far with these past 3 years dealing with actually like like dealing with your team as well, or dealing with different clients around the world?
Of course. So on a business perspective, I would say there are like three of them that I could understand very clearly. So the first one is that I would say it's like don't bite off more than you can chew. So in a business side, like we would get hundreds of like, can you please
Mhm.
provide a quote for 5,000 devices? Or I'm planning to create this prototype and scale to thousands at the beginning. I got so excited with those kind of projects, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is like the next big thing. I was saying that all the time, where they started like, okay, Christy, you have to understand that's not going to happen. And it's hard because you're all the time like checking out at just studies that they're doing, and they're talking about billions and stuff connected. Of course, I know it's also about consumer IoT. That's very different to the B2B like industry of deploying real stuff for other companies. So that's
Mhm.
the first learning, that don't bite off more than you can chew. And startups or anyone out there, if you in the public or in the audience are planning about launching something, start with something. Like to get to 1,000 devices, you have to start with 10. Only that curve of 10 and prototypes can be like a big jump to 1,000. So learning how to like soften the curve is very important. So that's the first learning. Also, about like what Jose asked before, IoT is pretty hard. So you don't, I mean, if you're a electrical engineer, for instance, probably you don't know that much about software or vice versa, stuff like that. So it's very important if you're just trying to solve something, go for companies who are already dealing with the headache of providing ease of use. So if you want hardware instead of doing it from scratch, check out the WizBlock and the starter kits, or check out a platform that you can easily connect stuff. So don't try to do anything from scratch because that would take forever. So it's like just leverage on the effort that other companies have already done before to go faster to market. And finally, it would be like just solve a real problem in the market, because a lot of times people start prototyping and they think there's a market out there, but no one wants to buy it, either because it's very expensive or because the technicals are perfect but no one actually was having a real issue, and you're providing like a Ferrari and they just needed like some, I don't know, like a tiny car to cross the road instead of like a jet. So those would be like three things where we see a lot of projects and cool initiatives don't happen because of those three things, I would say, kind of.
What about like project scheduling? Like that's like a big bugbear in the IoT space, because you always say like, oh, it's done in 3 months, and then 1 year later you're still making it,
Oh
right?
my god,
How do you manage that? Do you know
that's
any,
so
any tips?
true. I mean, I guess that varies from the kind of user that is trying to
Mhm.
do it, because we have on one end the entrepreneurs or the system integrators or the corporations. All of them have different schedules, and that's hard to deal with. But I think one of the things we try to do to tackle that problem is to have a very flexible pricing scheme, so that you don't have to have a very big installed base if you're not going to use it. So we try to be as flexible as possible depending on the stage of the project. So I think
Mhm.
that's a good feedback that we've had, because they either prototype and scale or just scale right away. But having a value offer thought for people who are prototyping is very important, and know how to internally with our customer success team kind of know who or what kind of projects are showing the data of how they're going to grow or not with real deployments and stuff. So we also internally know how to commit more or less resources on certain kind of projects. It's hard, which we're still learning on that for sure. And
Mhm.
also saying no, it's super hard, but we've learned the hard way on how to say no, and we're still on it. But yeah, saying no at the right time, I think, would be one of the best lessons learned in this process of just handling the business side of our solutions.
Yeah, very
There is
difficult
a
though. Like you
there
can't
is
say
a
no
key
to
thing that
everyone.
you yeah, completely. Yeah. There is a key thing that you mentioned that we are still learning, and I think like this is something that happened too much in this ecosystem. Like you can never stop learning something. There are always new technologies, like exploding like new things. For example, we can highlight the use case of helium, for example, over here. Like
Totally.
right now, there are many people like trying to get these miners, and for some reason, like the main community that have like the more like force on it is the community, the crypto and blockchain community. And sometimes when I sit down in a meeting with a client which are super focused on the IoT ecosystem and introduce helium to them, it's like, okay, why we are not using this? It's like, okay, we need to always like keep exploring, keep learning about the new things that are right there, in order to evaluate how we can evaluate and also make a more innovative solution
Absolutely.
as well.
In fact, I think that's one of the reasons why I love being like, I love IoT and I love this startup, because it's a place to actually be learning all the time. And if you don't like
Constantly
learning, and if
learning.
you like to stay in a comfort zone, like this is not a good area, because there are so many players and upcoming new technologies on every kind of layer. So it's, for me, that's what actually the most exciting part of this job, being in touch with so many technologies out there and understanding what's behind them, and who are the founders, if they have investment or not, what is their roadmap, how
Mm.
do they connect. For me, that's like super cool. It doesn't even seem like I'm working. It's just sparking my curiosity. I
Yeah,
love.
it's
Awesome.
a lot about the people, right? It's not just the technology; it's also the people behind
Exactly.
it. And now they're
And
connected
that's
well.
hard. People forget about that. Like
Mhm,
it's when we work in tech, it's easy to be very straightforward and not ever
mhm,
even putting faces to our names. And then I'm like, oh, you're a person and you have your dreams and stuff. That's super cool. I love that part as well. Connecting with people and just
Completely.
yeah, providing some
mhm.
support to see stuff succeed is not only about the business and that's it. It's to fulfill a personal goal. And it's so cool to know that you're part of that. Yeah.
Completely. I feel the same thing.
Yeah.
I think, yeah, I think
and
that's
and
common.
now that you mentioned that you are like in close communication with like hundred of like IoT enthusiasts, entrepreneurs, system integrators, and also like large companies where solving different kind of problems for different verticals through IoT solutions. But like we have like these different like layers, like the various personnel involved in different kind of project. But what kind of project do you usually find, and how is the process to finally like place a solution in the field to see the business value of it? Like how is your support on that side?
Cool. That's great. So I think that first we see like three kind of buyer personas that they have very specific needs. Of course, they vary, but first the IoT entrepreneurs. So normally it's either one individual or just two founders that are trying to make something happen. And I think they have a very specific vertical in mind. It's not like they're trying to do everything for everyone. So I think for that kind of segment, as I mentioned before, one of the things they value the most is the flexibility because normally they're validating a market need, so they don't have enough funding or just returns to fund their own IoT solutions. So pricing is very important, and that's a headache. So being there and supporting those projects is very important. Also, they need something that is not like a black box. So they need to do stuff integrated with things, change hardware, just provide those blocks. So both flexibility to charge and the blocks, so they can do stuff on their own. So to give you an example, um, we have, for instance, and I'll talk about it later with because I first want to answer the first question, but uh, agriculture is huge. So people start watching a very good place to save some resources. So they want to do humidity probes or complete sensors and deploy them in the field. So they easily connect the to Ubidots and they go and sell something to the crops and the greenhouses and stuff. So we've seen a lot of use cases there. We have one in Israel that they started with a couple of sensors, then they received investment after 2 years, and then they now right now they have thousands of devices deployed, but they were a startup and they were like figuring out how to charge, who's going to be the customer, where are their fundings coming from and stuff like that. So that's pretty interesting. And it's the hard thing there is that they either do very well or they don't do well at all. There's not like a middle point. So it's very sad to see when they don't succeed in the market and you do everything and you support them and you run the extra mile, but things are hard and they don't find clients. That's one of the segments. Okay, I'll move forward with the system integrators. It's kind of different to the IoT entrepreneurs, where it's basically a company. It could also be entrepreneurs, but I see more that they're integrating the hardware and the connectivity. They're kind of trying to do everything, and they're offering it to different industries on the market, so different verticals. To give you an example, this is very common with Ubidots. Imagine a system integrator selling solutions to a hospital. So they're putting everything together and they're offering a white label thing where they help the hospital save hundreds or millions of dollars in vaccines, blood banks, everything that has to be carried in refrigerators. So the biggest value that you could give to system integrators is the ability for them to white label a solution. What do I mean by that? They're committing so many like resources and so many like efforts to integrate everything and providing the support and going to deploy stuff on the field and stuff, where I've seen cases that they pay Ubidots less than $1 per month per connected device, and they sell it for $100, the same device. So we're leaving a lot of money on the table, but that's our only way for us to be scalable and for them to have a good ROI on their businesses. So we provide our white label where they can completely hide Ubidots. and they go and sell it in the market. I'm pretty sure that that's also common for rack, where you're just one of the components. So it has to be a very scalable and something that you can mark up at will, that you can sell it 100 times that cost if that's what you want. So that's one of the needs as well.
Mm.
Finally, we've had and we've carried out a cool couple of projects on the corporate side. That's another thing for sure, where they have the money and they have a very specific thing that they want to do, but navigating the corporate world is like, it's very cool actually. It's both hard and nice, because it's a completely different challenge than the entrepreneur. And as a company and as a startup, like as Ubidots, we have to know exactly what's that value offer. And in my case, in the business side, it's a whole different language than the IoT entrepreneur. And it's a project that could take 6 to 8 months. It has to have internal sponsorship. I've tried a lot of projects with corporations, and if there's no internal sponsorship in order for the project to scale up, that's not going to happen. You need someone internally to move it around. You need like an internal superhero. If you don't have it, forget about it. It's not going to be a priority, and they're not going to give you their budget. So I think those are like our findings, and I've learned that with a telco actually in Latin America, that we're doing a project right now to monitor the Wi-Fi quality. So yeah, a little bit of everything.
Awesome. And like you are familiar like with the different these but with these different buyer personas, but if you put it at table like entrepreneurs and corporate companies, when it comes to the business point of view, which one do you prefer to work with?
That's a very hard question. Um, well, I'm a big fan of entrepreneurship. I love it so much that I just love knowing that individuals, not like huge corporations of thousands of employees, are doing money. So that's great to know that value is like well distributed. But I've learned so many things on the corporate side, like soft skills and more on how to be more eloquent, and how to sell a project like with a bunch of zeros, not like small licenses. That I'm very grateful that I've had the experience of working with corporations. So I think, and you might not like this answer, but I like both, because they require a very different set of both hard and soft skills that I haven't. That this is an MBA on itself, like dealing with so many different stages and people and stakeholders and by persona solutions. So I think it has given me a very good sense of what is real life, the hard things about being an entrepreneur and the hard things of being a corporate and making things happen on a corporate level. So that would be my answer.
Awesome. That's good. That's good. Awesome. And now if we jump more like between like among like the Ubidot side, like what do you consider it is the what or it is or what was the key factor that helped Ubidot to become a key player in the international market?
Oh, the international market. I see. Okay. Well, as part of the story, it's pretty cool to know that a lot of years ago, like 10 years ago, both our founders were doing complete end-to-end solutions on the healthcare industry in Colombia. So they were the integrators that I was talking about. So with those kind of solutions, you can capture a lot of value, but it's not scalable. So you can serve 20 or 100 hospitals, but not 1,000 or 100,000 hospitals, right? So I think it was more like strategic on their end to productize something instead of delivering a service. And of course, having a global product and an API and a software and all of these implications that it has, I guess it had a lot of challenges, but the fact that it became international was exactly that, the aim and just wanting to do stuff for everyone in the world. And it's so cool. We have clients in more than 80 countries. We have projects in Africa, in the middle of the islands, in Europe, in Finland. They're monitoring some boats, or in Patagonia, like some vineyards. And I'm like, oh, this is so cool. And I love just having exposure to that and talking to everyone. So I think it was more strategic to wanting to do a software, like a software as a service model that could be accessed anywhere in the world with a credit card. And I think that was pretty strategic at the time. And that's one of our main goals, to be global. And that's why I love the company as well, because I like that exposure.
Awesome, awesome. And
Like,
now that you mentioned, yeah, go ahead, please.
no, I was wondering what do you think about that being on rack? Because I know you also like you have a home base in China, but you have operations everywhere. So how's your experience dealing with the international market?
Like it's pretty amazing to see like the different use cases that they are being tackled all around the world and the different verticals, or when you are talking with a community member or even a partner or a client that they comes with idea that you never could imagine. And it is super cool to be there and to be in the position where you can help them to make those things true. It's like, okay, let's make this happen. We have the resources to make it, we have the technology to make it, and if we don't have it, and we have some partners that they are going to help you to build this thing in a more quickly and easy way. We
Right.
provide those things. So I really enjoy for being part of that thing, being part of being the support of someone who has a dream and is trying to develop something, and being the support to push that thing move forward. It is completely amazing, and even
Yeah.
more when you are doing it worldwide, not just locally, like meeting with
100%.
cultures, meeting with different kind of people. It is pretty amazing.
Yeah. The only problem is the time zones. It's really
Okay,
annoying.
that's another thing, please.
Really annoying.
No
Yeah,
question over here.
that's true. I mean,
Yeah.
it's a trade-off, but yeah,
Yeah, exactly,
we have to
completely.
be global citizens, including our.
Yeah. Yeah,
Exactly,
indeed. Yeah.
exactly.
There's no everything's global now. We live in a
Yeah.
global time. Mm.
And also like you just mentioned like all these people all around the world developing different kind of projects, and which is like pretty amazing. And you have been seeing some of these projects since the beginning. So would you like to share more about some of, I don't know, success stories that you have had the privilege to witnesses in Ubidots? Or if even better, if they are using RAKwireless products.
Oh my gosh, yes. I have one right now that is super cool. And can I share screen real quick, right? Yes.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
1 second. Share screen.
Here
Okay.
we have
I think you
it.
can see it right now. So
Yeah.
uh, we have a very cute story, and I have some very nice pictures because it's very hands-on and real. So there's this use case in Australia that his name is Nick, and he grew up around Victoria, and he worked just in a very traditional industry with furniture, and for the past 20 years. But then he came back to the farm to help his family, and he quit the full-time job, and he heard just about Orwin and all these things that he could be doing, and he finally deployed the sensors because he had just a very like clear idea to improve he's not only his farm but the neighbors. And you can see just Nick like doing everything and just starting from scratch, and he's using RAKwireless right now. And he's been with us for the past 2 years, and they're exploding. Like it's not only like one or two farms, but he already has like hundreds of customers, which is super exciting for both of us that they're using um, Rack and Ubidots, and they're actually making a business idea happen, and so solving very local needs with Australia's farms in Victoria. So that's one of the use cases that we have. And the other one, if you can see right here, this is one that it's a project that we've been working together with Maria and with Helium, where we got together in a very strong partnership of both hardware and software and just the network server, and of course, one entity that is able to go out and deploy sensors in the field. So it's called Open, our partner. And what we're doing is that we develop those beautiful kits. And for instance, we already started gathering data. And this is in France. This is a project that is called La Rêve de Gaia. And it tries just to map a lot of sensor data. It's an entrepreneurial environment. And they're just tracking a lot of sensor data and proving that it's possible to live in harmony. And I wanted to bring the kits, and Maria, of course, you can talk about it more, but I think they're just beautiful. And if we deploy this around Africa and we lower down the technical barriers for either students or the government to track volcano data or crops, or how to teach kids and students to use like better their resources and know how to craft their own food and stuff like that from a young age. I think that's going to have a lot of results in the long run. And these kids are beautiful, and thanks Rack for making this happen. The idea for us is to distribute them around Africa, Liberia, Kenya, even Jamaica. I mean, not in Africa, but other the areas. So we're
Mhm.
super excited about this project, and it's so good that it's already happening. Do you want to say something about it, Mari?
Yo, basically, we're also super excited about placing these kids in hand of kids to be able to drive different kind of projects and also learn them to help about these technologies that are going to help them to build a better future for them and also for their communities. Because one of the things that excited me the most about the Open project is the 100 to 100 project they run, which basically they place these kids in hand of kids, like say 100 kids, but these kids are connected to 100 communities and underserved communities where the technologies are the ones who explore, thinking, and learn the technology, but they need a place where they need to place these sensors in order to gather and do a real use case. So the underserved community are right there with the needs, and basically what opens do is connect them to make that happen. So yeah, we have been talking about these kids in a couple of sessions in the past. Actually, we have one session where we chat with with the CEO and founder of Open, which is George Newman. I
Right.
encourage you to all of those who are watching us to see that episode. It's pretty interesting, and we talk a little bit more about the project itself, about the kids and the plan that we have for it, as well as when we are going to have them on hands to be able to deploy these kids all around the world. So yeah, pretty excited about this and looking forward to see it in everyone's hands in the near future.
When is it, Maria, coming up? Do you know?
In the middle of December, we have the
No,
first
it's not
launch
okay.
of the initial kits. Yeah.
Awesome. That's
Yeah.
great.
Hmm.
From a
Yeah,
business
we
perspective,
have it for the middle of December, and the initial, let's say, project is going to start by the middle of January. So yeah, we are close to the date.
yeah, that's super exciting. Also, from a business perspective, it's been something interesting because this has a like one of the major stakeholders is the government. So it's like a whole new learning about how to structure this very big proposals and kind of getting stuff to make it happen, and also get together the partners and know exactly how is everyone just helping with a very specific area. So it's been a very nice project. It involves both the tech and the business side of making things happen. So I really like it.
Completely.
Mhm.
And all the people involved is pretty cool and are like people with bright minds. So it's super nice to catch up every
Exactly.
time and yeah, get with new
I just have
projects,
fun
with new
doing that.
ideas, things in
Yeah,
your country.
And they're
exactly.
musicians as well, right? I think
What?
right? Open is also around music, so there's
Yeah.
that
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
not
artist
just a
side.
STEM, it's also the music side. The mission of them is that they want like in with the cultural side, they want to connect the different cultures. Doesn't matter if you want to learn technology or arts or music. So it's pretty interesting. You should check out their website, oneplaneteducationnetwork.com, and you will see
Oh,
all the things they are currently building. And if you want to get more information about them, you can find it right there. So yeah, and would you recommend any particular ride device to the Ubidots community members?
we really like the Wiz block because we have it in our office and we've been able to play around with it. And we even created like a plugin. So it's very easy. For instance, if you want to connect it to Helium, I really like that one because it's very straightforward. Also, the button is pretty nice.
Mhm.
So I guess that, yeah, you guys have a whole range of sensors and very good hardware that is one of the best just to make it easy as you actually proclaim. So
As
we're
our
big fans of
motto,
that.
IoT made easy.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
ultimate. And we have so many
It is.
options. We have the Raspberry Pi microcontrol now with LoRa, the first one in the market. And it always has that LoRa component, which connects to all these exciting new networks, like in the.
Exactly. And
Exactly.
if let's say if we put in a table like rack and Ubidots, it is like the same thing but for the different layers as you were sharing
Mm.
at the beginning. There are the different layers all involved here in the IoT ecosystem, but now in the hardware side, we have a completely modular platform that allows us to interchange the core of it in order to build different kind of application based on the needs that you are looking. For example, you need some BLE and LoRa communication. Well, we have this core. And you need Wi-Fi, we have this another one. Or you just need LoRa, okay, we need another one for this. And in the case of Ubidot, it is like the same. Like, okay, I'm sending data, but there are different features we can call it. But if I need to make some computation based on the variables on the devices that I'm sending data, I can use, I don't know, synthetic variables. But if I need to, I don't know, do something with the data that I'm receiving, I can just jump and set up an event to generate an alarm or even to activate another devices. So it's more to trying to understand the different layers, something to highlight over here, that are involved in the different layers when you are deploying or working on an IoT project, understand those bases, and having the ability to connect with companies that are going to make it that path even easier for you. I'm going to be completely honest for one thing on my side, but when I don't meet Marcelino at that time, I met him before. But when he introduced me to the Whistlog, I was like, oh, man, I need this word like 6 months ago. Everything could change for me if I was using this word. So it's pretty cool to be in a company, and I'm talking from my side, like that is a product driving company that is always listening the community, listening the market needs, even more in the hardware side, in order to help those IoT entrepreneurs, system integrators, even large company to quickly test, prototype, deploy, and also scale up their solutions. And in some way, if we connect them with our partners such as Ubidots, they are going to make it even easier for them to just be a proof of concept in, I can say one
One
day,
week.
but
Yeah,
I guess
1 week.
whatever it is, yeah, but let's make more extensive. Let's say 1 week, like a solid where you can prepare like the business use
100%.
cases, but you can have the integration, you have the dashboard, you have the white label dashboard with your own brand. You can put that in the field. So it's pretty cool to be able to use these tools that are accessible for everyone, just to build a proof of concept and be able to build a business behind it. So
Mhm.
it's pretty awesome.
Couldn't have done
And sorry.
that. You said it perfectly.
Yeah, but that is the truth. Completely.
Mhm.
And can you share a little bit more about like the company itself, like the long terms, upcoming projects, latest integrations, or maybe something circuit that you are working on that you would like to share with us today? I
Okay,
like
let's
secrets.
Secrets, yeah.
secrets, huh? Let's see. Okay. We're very excited about our plugins because we've seen that that's a very sweet spot on these promised land of the plug and play world, that we're far from being there, but we're doing as much as we want as we can to make it super simple. So we're adding a lot of new plugins to our IoT ecosystem. To give you an idea, with a plugin you barely don't have to code at all, and we handle all the heavy lifting under the platform, and you can connect to both hardware or software or third parties. We have AWS, and it's just very good enhancer of our current IoT solution. So that's super cool. We're always adding new ones. I'm also very excited. This is very niched, but this is also a prize. We're building in like a SCADA editor, so it's
Oh,
specifically for solutions in a more robust IoT vertical, which is either manufacturing or water pumps or chemical and oil and gas. So that's one of our
industrial
strategies.
IoT. Mhm.
Exactly. So we're building like in a SCADA pack in order for entrepreneurs or companies developing solutions for these kind of businesses. Normally that's first, it's very hard. It's just very complicated. And these legacy systems are old and expensive. They still work great, but there's a very big opportunity for entrepreneurs to deliver value to these kind of companies. Yeah, to give you an idea, we have right now a company serving the mining industry, and it's a couple of entrepreneurs developing services to a mining company. So they've been able to save millions of dollars in fines because they helped this mining company prove that they're taking care of their water resources so that they don't get fines from the government with a simple couple of PLCs and stuff. So it's bringing this ease of use to very complex and hard industries. And there's a sweet spot right there to do stuff. So we're working hard on that. And yeah, I'll let you know if we have some updates.
So will
Awesome.
this be like heavy sensors, like expensive type of
Expensive
No,
sensors?
ones.
No,
not
no,
necessarily. That's the thing.
no. Okay.
Because sometimes they pay a lot for just the SCADA visualizations.
Yeah,
So
like
right
the
now, we,
metal box. They pay
yeah,
like.
no. That's exactly the idea to bring
Mhm.
like kind of a lightweight IoT to heavier industries. Of course,
Okay.
there are a lot of things to be considered, security and
Yeah.
things that are like sometimes they're very resistant to the cloud. So that's another thing. But anyways, like setting that aside, imagine like an SCADA. If you're not familiar with that, that's like a black window where they have a very specific set of logics for controls. So what you're gonna be able to do with Ubidots is to replicate the SCADA logic visually, so that you don't have to acquire these legacy systems that are very expensive. So with your current sensors, you can replicate a SCADA without even like a PLC or something.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's something
Very
exciting.
nice. And also one thing to highlight is that the plugins are there for all of those who would like to build their own. They can also do it to
Exactly.
make it easier for an
If you
end
want to
user.
connect to Helium, for instance, with a couple of clicks, you're gonna be able to do it with our Helium plugin, and we actually have Rack as an example of the decoder. So it's gonna be
Mhm.
even more straightforward if you want Rack and Helium.
Awesome. I love that.
Right.
Awesome. So I think we can jump to our Q&A session. I have been really enjoying this chat with you. I was eager to have it. But meanwhile, when I check the questions, I'm going to jump with one. And I know that we have been talking a lot around this topic over the session, but just like a summarize, what are your recommendations for those looking to validate the market and the technical solution in the most efficient way?
Okay. Validate the market and the solution. Let's see. I know we've talked about that before, but I guess just going fast to market and solve something and having the technicals like figured out. So it's like prototype easily, fail fast, and don't like build the Ferrari if you just want to test that they want XYZ. So it would be like building lightweight prototypes where you can fail fast and you didn't spend a lot of money before knowing that it was actually validated. I think that would be it.
Awesome. Thanks
What
for
would be
sharing
your
that one.
recommendation for that, Marty? Or
My
Jose?
recommendation for oh Jose, would you like to jump on this one?
Yeah, I mean the prototype stage is, yes, super important, but I will also be concerned about the scaling stage after that, because you might end up with the prototype in production, which you don't want usually.
Yeah.
I mean, it will work, but yeah, projects tends to move fast, and it's you have to be one step ahead basically, and you
That's
know
true.
that the next step will be going into production and have a plan for that already.
I love that.
Completely.
That's
Yeah,
great.
difficult.
That's true.
But the funding side, everything is also difficult. So you have to manage all of that. So it's a little bit tricky. And I do see some opportunity in things like Helium to actually fund some of the projects, because now you can produce tokens from your coverage.
Exactly.
And it's for everyone's benefit that there are solutions running on Helium. So after all, it's a worthy investment. So you're investing in your own kind of revenue there,
Rewards. Yeah,
rewards.
exactly.
Yeah.
Completely.
So yeah, so it's a
Yeah.
new model.
Yeah.
Keen to explore that. Let's maybe see what if it will help with the funding strategy and finding money to scale, which is always the problem.
Completely. Actually, we have someone new on this space. This question is not directly for Cristina, but we can cover it over here. Richard, welcome to the Hands with RAKStars stage. He's new into this page and got several miners, setting up them and optimizing them. And his question is, we can also use WizGate devices to earn rewards on the network. Jose, this was going to be your favorite questions for you.
Yeah, it's not possible yet to get the
Mhm.
WizGate, the cheaper units mining HND, but when light hotspots come around, which should be next year, this will be possible. So at a lower cost, you can have a miner produce
Nice.
the
I
same
watched
Awesome.
rewards.
myself.
Mhm. Yeah, this can't come soon enough, really, because the full miners are becoming expensive and they are a problem on the network as well.
Completely. And we have another one from Leo.
More
For
helium.
people looking to start their own businesses on the Helium network, what are some keys note you would recommend before starting?
It depends on the business, right? So if you're providing network coverage, there's already many examples out there, like small companies, big companies, all involved in deploying miners and providing coverage. If you want to do IoT solutions on the Helium network, then I think that's still a little bit unexplored. And I would suggest to talk to us and Ubidots to get you on board with that plan, basically. But because there's a lot of things that might not be super clear at the start, that will help you in the long run.
Completely. Let me just
Yeah,
get
just
this
make
one.
partnerships. I think the most important thing in
Exactly.
IoT is making partnerships.
Completely. That is a key thing because the value that brings you just to be able to connect with the right people can change completely the way that you are driving your project.
Yeah,
Yeah, we
Mhm.
have some highs, new
that's
peoples joining in.
and just to make a little more marketing about Helium. I mean, that's what I love about Helium, because you will find even the CEO on Discord. So it's quite an
Mhm.
impressive company. The openness that's there to make your partnerships work.
Cool.
Just a funny comment that I would like to bring over here. I think I just don't sleep to cutter to all the time zones, or is IoT just my addiction? I think so.
Oh,
No, but that's kidding. No, but that is how it's work.
especially
Not a
And
it's
yeah.
been hard for me, for instance, with Australia.
Oh,
Surprisingly,
yeah.
we have such a big network there, and our
tough.
meetings are like the weirdest time zones ever.
Oh, man. And also a comment that I would like to bring over here is that from Daniel is also someone who is new over here. I love hearing stories like this of people building real products that make a difference. Thanks for sharing over that rack. All right, nice. Hello from
Great.
Germany. Yeah, nice, nice. Yeah, these are the questions that we have so far. I don't know if someone else have any additional question for Chrissy that you would like to bring to the conversation. Feel free to share those on the comment section.
And if you don't have it,
And
you can reach out
mhm,
to my email, Cristina@ubidots.com. I love chatting about anything, basically.
completely. Yeah, we can see that over the chat that we have today. I love it. No, that is fine, that is fine. And yeah, from my side, let's think in another one. Well, maybe this can be a hard question.
Ah,
But which of the projects that you have been done so far, which are the one that you are most proud of, which was the hardest, and which was the one that you enjoyed the most?
like projects with real
Yeah, can
companies.
be projects.
Let's see. Well, I'm pretty proud of the project with the telco and the corporate one because it's been a very challenging one, mostly on my personal level. That was super cool, and it's still going. Uh, I also love any kind of IoT project that help the environment. So when it has that component of taking care of resources, we have a lot of projects in water management or food waste. There are a lot of ones in food waste, or some that help flower producers, or something that is more like directly with small agriculture, like scale, instead of big corporations. In that regard, I love that because it's modernizing very old industries where there are not enough efficiencies. So I have a couple of them in the flower industry. I love the ones that are also here in Latin America. Oh, and I also have one that I love, which is in Australia, where we have some partners that you can check them out. Their name is Peclet, Peclet. And what they do is that it's just a group of entrepreneurs that they deliver smart cities projects, and they compete against huge corporations. And using Ubidots, they've been able, and of course, a lot of different technologies, putting them together, they've been able to go and serve the as the government. And last week they won the best projects in smart cities, and they were very thankful. And it's like it's great to know that companies with using different tools can go out there and deliver a lot of values without being huge corporations. So it's very empowering to see how the partnerships are powerful and that they can actually just win these bids and these big processes. So that's very rewarding. Yeah. Oh, and the worst.
Awesome.
Okay, next question.
Next question. Okay.
No.
I don't know, Jose, if you have any question for Christy, or we can just to the close session.
Yeah, I think we can. I think she has
Okay.
answered already many questions. Thank you very much, Christina.
Amazing, amazing. Just to finish over here, any message that you would like to share with our community of entrepreneurs, makers, and engineers?
Um, I would say just go for it. Start with something, either like prototype, do your own solution, be an entrepreneur, try to do it, and it's very rewarding. And don't do anything from scratch. Look for good partners and create good networks around it. And yeah, create a very good support group to do your things, and it's gonna be easier.
Awesome, awesome.
That's it.
Thank you so much, Christy,
Oh,
for
thank
taking the time and having this space with us.
you.
I really enjoy it, and yeah, learn from you as always. I'm pretty sure that all the things that you shared today will be of great help for our RAKStars. And also thanks for all of those who connect today, all of those who say hi, who leave their
Mhm.
comments, their questions. Happy to see new members joining every time. And
Mhm.
as Christina just shared, if someone is watching this video later, you can leave your questions on the comment section, or you can connect with us directly, and we will be super happy to address any question you may have.
Mhm.
We hope to see you next week. You want to say something? Go ahead.
No, it's just a little thing. If you want to start using Rack and Ubidots, we offer a free 30-day trial, so you can just test out everything and use both products together. And we have a great support team that's going to help you if you have any questions with your hardware or anything. So we would love to see new people using both products. And if you have one already, let us know about it. That would be great too.
Completely, completely.
Great.
Thanks for brings that to the session. And also, yeah, we hope to see you all next week. Enjoy the rest of your morning, your evening, afternoon, night, whatever you are.
You
Or your
My
holiday,
best
right? And
your
it's a
time.
holiday in
holiday.
the US, right?
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
Thanksgiving.
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 Happy
Happy
Thanksgiving
holiday.
for all
Yeah.
of those who are on US. And my best wishes to you all, and happy hacking as always. Bye bye, folks.
Happy
Bye bye.
hacking. Bye.
Bye bye.